In 3, 2, 1. After what we just witnessed last weekend, where Belal came out of nowhere and completely schooled Leon Edwards, proving all the haters and all the doubters wrong, I think it's time we take a look at some of the underdogs in the UFC, some of the guys that get the most hate in the UFC, yet still manage to come out on top. So this is the Prove 'em Wrong tier list. But before I get into it, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, helps with the YouTube algorithm, helps grow the channel. We're more than halfway to 1,000 subscribers, so I appreciate each and every one of you. And also, let me know in the comments who you think is an underdog who always proves people wrong. Let's jump right in. So first, let's start off with Justin Gaethje. Now, Gaethje's been a favorite in a lot of fights, but the one I'm specifically going to mention is the fight where he completely derailed Tony Ferguson's career. If you don't remember, going into that, he was considered the underdog, and he put on a clinic against Tony Ferguson to the point where he hasn't been the same since. Ever since then, he has been relatively close to being the favorite. He was a favorite in his title fight against Charles Oliveira, I believe. You know, he was the favorite against Max Holloway. Against Khabib, he was obviously a huge underdog. Overall, I would consider him a D-level underdog type, just because there was kind of that one performance where he was the underdog, but everywhere else he's kind of been, it's been pretty close. So yeah, I'm putting him as a D. Next, we're going to go with Sugar Sean O'Malley. Now, Sugar Sean O'Malley, he hasn't been the underdog too much. I think he was the underdog against Petr Yan, which a lot of people arguably thought that he lost that fight. Looking back at it, he was definitely winning the exchanges on the feet and doing more damage in that realm, but Yan certainly had the better takedowns and everything like that. But the thing is, like, everybody always thinks he's going to lose, right? They thought he was going to lose to Yan. They thought he was going to lose to Aljo, and yet he kept proving people wrong. And now he's a world champion, right? You know, he put on a clinic against Vera. He was supposed to win that fight, of course. And so the question will be, you know, if a lot of people think Merab is going to get him down, hold him down, and beat him up for 5 rounds. Right, but I think O'Malley has a really good chance in that fight as well. I'm going to put O'Malley as a C for the Prove 'em Wrong tier list. So next is Francis Ngannou, and here's the thing, right? During his MMA career and his UFC career, he was a favorite a lot. So I'm specifically going to mention him in, like, this is more of an honorable mention type thing for this performance right here. Everybody thought that he was going to get walloped by Tyson Fury. He ended up losing a close split decision, got this iconic knockdown in boxing. Frankly, after that, his performance against Anthony Joshua, like, he got destroyed, right? But just because that performance, I'm going to put Francis as a D. It's funny because a lot of people were saying that Francis Ngannou, he feeds off of people doubting him, and so the reason he did so well is because everybody thought he didn't have a chance, whereas with Anthony Joshua, a lot of people thought he could actually win that fight, and so that's why he wasn't able to put on such a good performance, because people were actually believing in him. Max Holloway. So Max Holloway, he's actually the favorite quite a bit, but in that fight against Justin Gaethje at UFC 300, he was the underdog. And a lot of people thought that he wouldn't be able to stand with Gaethje's power. A lot of people thought he wasn't going to, you know, he lost to Poirier twice when he came up to lightweight. So a lot of people thought he wasn't going to be able to get the job done, right? So, but a lot of time he is the favorite in most other fights. So I'm going to be putting him at a D right next to Justin Gaethje. But that performance against Justin Gaethje was absolutely legendary. Dustin Poirier. Now, I'm specifically going to talk about Dustin Poirier because he is an underdog type guy, right? A lot of the fights he goes into, he is the underdog. The fight that got him another title shot, right, against Islam Makhachev, he was the underdog there. And he knocked out Benoit Saint Denis. And then in the fight against Islam Makhachev, he didn't come out on top, of course, but he put on one hell of a fight. You know what I mean? Like, people thought that everybody was thinking that Islam was going to walk right through him, and he lasted 5 rounds and submitted it, and got submitted in the 5th. But overall, I'm going to put Dustin Poirier as a B-type underdog, just because in a lot of those fights, like, he is the underdog, you know, but he's great, right? I even think in the Conor fights, he was considered the underdog, and he came out on top. So I'm going to put Dustin Poirier at a B. Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards is one of those guys that he was an underdog for a long time. In the Usman fight, he put on that legendary, he was a huge underdog. And he was even an underdog in his first defense against Usman. And yet he put on 2 incredible performances in a row against Usman to win the champion, to defend his belt, and then he put on, I think, against Colby Covington. I don't remember if he was the underdog there as well or not. I think he was the favorite, but I don't remember. So I'm putting Leon Edwards at a B. Juliana Pena. So here's the thing. That might have been the biggest upset in UFC history when she beat Amanda Nunes, right? Like, nobody thought she stood a chance. And in their rematch, she got absolutely destroyed. But that performance was absolutely epic. And, like, I really do think that she could contend with almost anybody at 135 right now. Which, like, that really has nothing to do with it. But I'm going to put her at a C. She had that one incredible performance, but never really, but still, that was, you know what, I'm going to put her at a B. Even though it was just one great underdog performance, I still, like, to beat Amanda Nunes even on her worst day is pretty incredible. So, Juliana Pena, I'm putting her at a B. Paddy the Baddy. So, Paddy the Baddy, like, a lot of people doubt this guy. Everybody thought that Bobby Green was going to just beat him up and show that there were levels to the game. And what happened, right? He submitted him inside the first round. And Paddy the Baddy, like, he does have a lot of haters, a lot of doubters. He continues to win. He continues to prove people wrong. Obviously, that Jared Gordon fight was close. A lot of people thought that Jared Gordon won that fight. I think Paddy's even alluded to the fact that maybe Jared Gordon won that fight. Nevertheless, he still continues to win. He continues to prove people wrong. And frankly, I think he has a really good chance at beating a lot of people, even in the top 10 at lightweight. So overall, but the thing is, he does have the UFC behind him, right? It's not like he's one of these people that, you know, he's got to just claw and fight and whatever to get his shot. Like, the UFC will move him along pretty quickly if he wants to be moved along, right? Like, if he asks for, you know, if he asks to fight Poirier or Gaethje or anybody in the top 5, I guarantee you the UFC is going to say yes, you know? So I'm going to put Paddy the Baddy at a C. Belal Muhammad, S. I'm putting him at an S. And look, this is recency bias, I get it. But if you look back to every fight he's fought, I think since the Diego Lima fight, since he fought Leon Edwards for the first time, every single one he has been the other underdog. Every single one he's been expected to lose. He does not have the UFC behind him. Like, Dana White was so reluctant to give him a title shot. Just because, like, he's got a boring style, he's not a superstar, he doesn't have, like, anything particularly special about him skill-wise, but Belal Muhammad is, I've said it before, I said it in the last video, a game plan master, and because of that, he takes the fight to where his opponent is worst and can manage to eke out a victory. And so, and just do watch, right? Shavkat Rakhmonov is probably going to fight him next because I think that Dana White wants Belal out of championship. And I can assure you that will he win? I don't know, but I think he's going to make it an incredible fight. Like, he's going to make Shavkat look human. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's like, oh, he's a monster, you know, all these things. I think Belal Muhammad's going to find a way to make him look human. Sean Strickland. A. That performance he put on against Izzy, I think he was something like an 8-1 underdog, right? He was not supposed to win that in any way, shape, or form. And the thing is, like, he's been an underdog before, and he's put on some pretty good fights. But yeah, that performance against Izzy was incredible. He, arguably, a lot of people thought he won that fight against Dricus. Like, a lot of people think he should be the champion. A lot of people think he should face Robert Whittaker in a title eliminator, but frankly, I'm still on Strickland's side in the sense that I think he's beaten Izzy and arguably beaten Dricus, right? Whereas Robert Whittaker definitively lost to both of those guys. You know what I mean? And, you know, because of that, I think Strickland really, he's really the only answer right now at middleweight. But the UFC doesn't want him as champion. That is abundantly clear. So, yeah, I would say that Sean Strickland, I'm putting him at an A. And right next to him, I'm putting Alexa Grasso. Look, Alexa Grasso was not supposed to beat Valentina Shevchenko. I'm pretty sure she was like a 6-1 underdog in their first fight, and she ended up beating her by submission, rear naked choke. In their second fight, Valentina was still the favorite, and she fought her to a draw. And frankly, I think when they fight next in the Sphere, I think Valentina's still going to be the favorite, but Alexa Grasso's still going to get the job done. Her boxing is really good. She's the younger fighter. You know, she's got that sort of Mexican fighting spirit behind her. Alexa Grasso, I'm putting her at an A tier. Thug Rose. Thug Rose is going at a B. Actually, no. Thug Rose is going at an A right beside her. Now, I know she's been on a bit, she went on a bit of a skid after her performance against Carla Esparza, which frankly, like if I'm the judges, right? Neither of them did anything in that fight. I still give it to Rose just because of the fact that, like, you know, in my opinion, if you're fighting for a belt, you've got to take the belt, right? That's just the way I see it. But when she fought Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she was like a 5-1 underdog. She managed to win that. She was the underdog both times when she faced Wei Li. She knocked her out the first time, won a fairly dominant decision the second time, in my opinion. So Thug Rose would probably be A tier as well in terms of being an underdog. Next, Holly Holm. Really and truly, like, she's kind of got one performance, but it was a pretty incredible performance to her name to even be on this list, and I would say that was when she knocked out Ronda Rousey, right? So yeah, I'm putting her at D tier. That was one really incredible performance. I think Ronda Rousey was like a minus 1100 to win that fight, and Holly Holm managed to basically put an end to her career, right? And other than that, like, what else is she known for? What else has she done? You know what I mean? So I'm going to put her at D tier. And lastly, I'm going to put Dricus du Plessis. And this was basically, Dricus du Plessis, I'm honestly putting him at S tier as well. And here's the thing, right? Dricus du Plessis has been, I believe, the underdog in almost every fight, similar to Belal Muhammad. When he fought Darren Till, I believe he was the underdog. When he fought Robert Whittaker, he was the underdog. I can't remember a few of the other names on his resume, but he's been the underdog so many times, and he's managed to come out on top, right? And in the fight against Strickland, I believe it was even money. He might have been a slight underdog. And even though, like, I think Strickland won, nevertheless, two of the judges saw it in favor of Dricus. And, right now he's facing Izzy. I think he's the underdog here as well. And I think that he has a really good chance at beating Izzy. Just because, like, Izzy's been inactive for a year. He has that big loss against Sean Strickland. He's talked about being on the bottom half of his career. He's talked about just all this stuff, right? And, it's interesting because a lot of people think that Izzy was like, he had that big win over Alex Pereira, and then right after that, he kind of fell off, right? And so the question is like, why? You know? Some people were saying that, well, because he did what his career was meant to do, right? It's just like his whole existence was beating Alex Pereira, you know what I mean? But now that that's over, nothing else kind of gets the juices flowing, right? I don't know, but that was the theory. So I think that's interesting. If Izzy does manage to reclaim the middleweight strap, but if Dricus ends up winning, right? Like, and I really think he can. I do. I'm still kind of leaning towards Izzy for that fight, but it's by no means a foregone conclusion, right? So that's my tier list. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.